Sonya and Sasha, for real.
You're listening to BRIMBANK Live and Live FM. This is the Sonya and Sasha for Real show, our favourite Jokes Friday, and we have a great guest today. I'm so proud of this young person who I'm about to introduce, and I have to say, he is my nephew, and we are about to talk to the winner of, get this, the Student of the Year Award for Melbourne Fashion Week. Could everyone please go crazy for Alexander Bourgazas?
Woo!
Hey guys.
Sonya, your family's just stepped up to celebrity status here. We're all off to Paris next year. You do realise that, don't you? The way that this guy's going with his career, and I'm tapping onto this family for that trip. That's all I can say.
Though the handouts will be extended. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm going to book the 4 seasons. I'll do the booking. Don't worry.
You know what? He's so chilled, Sash. He won the award. You could see his family going nuts in the background. He was just chill, just very chill. Oh yeah, thank you so much. I'm really happy to accept the award. Very chilled out, very together, very humble, beautiful person. Now, this collection that you are about to put out into the world is called the Kuneli collection, and Kuneli means rabbit in Greek. So tell us, what is the inspiration behind all this? Because I've seen this, Sasha. When you see this work that Alexander has done, it is next level, beautiful, sophisticated, with nods to Greek culture and heritage, and changeable, where like some of the pieces become different things. They become bad. Anyway, you tell us, Alexander, because I could go on. I'm excited for you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, like I had an opportunity to explain a little bit earlier. Well, my research from my studies has always been about decoding and understanding what masculinity means, and the idea of how it can be appropriated in different people's lives. And for me, that journey of understanding that in my own life, it started as soon as I finished high school. And so as I've kind of progressed throughout my schooling, I've kind of developed more informed content, more informed product with a sense of intimacy in a way. And that intimacy actually stems from a lot of my personal journey. And so the whole understanding masculinity or male identity in my own life is, like I'm a Greek young man, like in Melbourne, and like, there are lots of different, there's lots of expectations casted upon someone like myself, and it's just kind of, my work has kind of been a navigation of how I've done that. Now in my honors collection, the Kuneli collection, I'm pretty much just looking at menswear archetypes through history and kind of aiming to, once again, reuse the word decode, but it's probably the best way to describe my work. Decode these archetypes as a matter of kind of informing new appropriations. The idea of a suit or an overcoat being able to create 3 new silhouettes or something like that, which is in fact what 2 of my jackets in my collection do, is a way of kind of informing an extension of masculinity, and not just the definition of masculinity in some senses. Yeah, that's kind of probably a good nutshell.
So why would you name this after a rabbit? Where would you get this idea from?
Yeah, so Kuneli, like Sonya said, is actually rabbit in Greek, and the rabbit in the animal kingdom is quite a vulnerable character. It's got preyed upon quite easily. It hasn't got a strong defense mechanism, other than rooting like rabbits, which is something that we all know. Which is why
So that's their defense mechanism.
Oh, it's not. Look, I'm not David Attenborough stats, so I don't want to go too. I don't want to state anything that I can't fact.
No, they just create their own army. They just keep on breeding.
Yeah, that's
their own protective army.
That's like men, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
men. Bit like men. They just keep creating, and we've popped out a couple ourselves, Sonya, so we understand. Yeah.
So yeah, the animal itself is quite a vulnerable character, and the idea of kind of using that as my collection mascot or superhero, as I was stating it all year to my teachers, was that I was kind of repositioning this idea of vulnerability, and kind of giving it a stage where, the rabbit isn't actually so vulnerable. Actually, vulnerability in manhood or masculinity is actually quite a strong characteristic if you can tap into it and can kind of repurpose it for the right ways. Like if you express yourself, it's kind of a stepping stone to improving yourself. I don't know if that makes sense, but you know, if what I said makes sense to you guys, but yeah, that's the reason I use the Quinelli or the rabbit as my mascot. And you've got little hints of that through the neck scarves that I've printed, or the other designs that I've done throughout the collection, embroidery and whatnot.
Just the way that you have described that is priceless and perfect. And for somebody who's come from the outside and not being able to see what you've produced, just from the way that you've explained that, can clearly see why you have won that. Clearly, it's just absolute perfection. The way that there's that vulnerability. You can see that it's come from the inside of who you are, and we're really putting it out there what we hope that men can actually be, and that they can embrace their own vulnerability and then do it through fashion as well to look good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like a market that's in fashion. It's starting to be tapped into, but everyone's got to do their own thing, and hopefully what I'm doing is probably better than what's already out there, and that's the aim, to keep doing that.
It absolutely is. And you started pretty young. You know, you started doing selling t-shirts out of your locker at high school, and you know, you started your brand quite really, really young. You know, I remember the whole putting that brand together and us, you know, riffing backwards and forwards about the name. And you know, then
we've got that stuff. We've got a hoodie, we've got the t-shirt.
Yeah. We've done all the pop-ups together.
Supported since day one.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's right. Day ones. So what was it this year like? Because the little tiny global pandemic crept in. And, you know, you're in the middle of creating the collection of the beginning of your
career. Can we still get Quiet Ander merchandise as well? Can we still buy that?
I'm putting look, I can make some personal stuff for you guys, but I'm probably putting a halt on that for a little while. I just kind of want to separate the two. I just kind of want to come back to it and give it the respect it deserves. You know, it's like my baby. I started that in high school when I was like 16 years old. So I want to come back to it maybe in a little bit more time, when I'm a bit more, I used the word informed before, but I think it's kind of another good way to describe it, once it's make more informed decisions.
Don't ever let that go, because that was really good. It was really, really good. So that's got its own lifespan to live on to.
Yeah. I hope so. That's kind of why I want to come back and see what I can do in a couple of years' time, maybe.
So you've kind of transformed fashion. So, you know, like I get these little family updates of what's going on, and you've transformed. So you've turned one item into another item, and you've put it like this. Tell us about that.
The idea of the being able to kind of the garment breaking apart, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Well, the purpose of that, I kind of touched on it a little bit. The purpose of that was, I've always been interested in this idea of wearability. I've always been this idea of wearability, and it's kind of a blanket term used in fashion, because can extend to whatever anyone wants to describe it, or put it in what box they want to put it into. But I've really been interested in this idea of having a garment, you know, like for me personally, like I'm okay with spending money on something and it can be quite expensive. If you give it the life it deserves, then that's okay. That's my mentality. And that's a different conversation. But the idea of having a single garment, being able to offer it or give the wearer the opportunity to wear it in so many different ways, it's kind of important to me, because you know, it's like less is more in a way. And it's like, instead of, you know, having to go buy a zillion different garments, like if you got one that kind of speaks to you in a certain way, it's kind of an important characteristic to kind of put into a garment. In my that's what I believe. And so I think like why I've done the garments. So for example, I've got an overcoat and a working jacket that literally have components that detach, create a side bag, additional pockets. The overcoat kind of detaches, creates a carry bag and a waistcoat. And those ideas is like the multiplicities of the wearer. Yeah.
You know what? I've never thought about this more than I have thought about this year, because you know we've all had this cupboard of clothes and we've worn 3 items, and you know, like it's the hoodie that comes in and the tracksuit pants that come out, and that's kind of like what we've worn all year, and the rest of it's just stayed in the cupboard. But I've really, really thought about sustainability and the amount of clothing that we use. And so I don't want to be one of those fashion, I've not been, but I'm more conscious than ever. I don't want to be one of these people that buys items and just goes through them left, right, and center. You want to get those really good pieces that you wear. So I'm actually finding that people are speaking more about that rather than just having that, having to wear something new all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that you use the word sustainability, because for me, sustainability is about good design. Like there's a balance you need to have. You know, for me, sustainability is about like a balance of aesthetic beauty, like something that we like and we adore. And then it's also about functionality in your life. And you got to kind of have that right balance, because there's no point in making something if first of all, no one's going to buy it. So an argument I constantly have with just people is that, like, you know, try not to overbuy, try not to overstock on fabrics and content, and not content, but fabrics and garments that you don't necessarily need. Like, if you want to spend money, maybe save money on something that you know you're really gonna give it its own purpose. And that kind of needs to extend into the industry in terms of buying fabrics. Like, you know, cut your costs. You know, it might be a bit more expensive, but I think the footprint it puts on the global scale, like it's much better if you're making decisions that are more I don't know, like personal, maybe is a good way to describe, but like kind of just, if you're maintaining that balance and you think of sustainability in that sense, then like you're doing something right. I just think I see too many people overdo things, and ultimately that's the issue of sustainability, one of the many, many issues.
Well, I think that so many people are really, really thinking about that more than ever now, more than ever. That whole, because I think that stores have come in and they've brought this fashion in that you can just buy and buy and buy, and then you get into the cupboard and you're wearing 20% of these items, and you know, we're just filling our landfill up with these items of clothing that we've hardly even worn. And I also think that celebrities are starting to be seen in more of the same outfits more than once. I've noticed that they've been able to talk about that, and that's and I'm certainly not the celebrity monger that would, you know, watch all of that stuff, but I have literally noticed it and went, oh, I wore that here, I wore that there, I wore that there, and because it was such a good piece that I wanted to get the most wear out of it. So if they're actually doing it, we're finding ourselves that it's okay to be doing that as well.
Yeah, of course.
Alexander, we can find you where? Where can we find you on social media, and where can we see this collection that's going to be coming out soon?
I've kind of just got one social media platform at the moment, and that is my Instagram, which is just Bourga. So that's just Bouga. It's a family nickname, or I might need to change that if I win a few more awards or whatever. You know, I might need to change it to be a bit more professional.
You do you.
That's what I'm thinking, but I've had that conversation with a few people, but we'll see what happens. Yes, that's just my Instagram at the moment. I don't really at this stage have any, I kind of want to keep it just to that, because I think my Instagram is a reflection of my lifestyle, and you know, the way I design and the people I hang out with, it's all kind of a so just my personal Instagram, and I'm starting to drip feed little collection pieces. I'm also actually working on a publication, which will be something that I'll announce on my Instagram sometime soon. So that could be something pretty exciting.
Everybody needs to go and check this out. I've just seen the last shoot. It was beautifully done. The model is exceptional. I love the effects that you've put on the clothing. You need to go and check this young person. This is one to watch, people. Do you understand what I'm saying?
100%.
This is not because he's my nephew. This is one. When he showed me the collection in your studio, in your home studio, Alexander, and you know, I really got to have a really great look at it. The craftsmanship and the design, and it's just stunning. It is really stunning. And I'm not saying that because we're related. I am saying it because it's exceptional, and we are all so proud of you. So please, everybody, get behind my brilliant young man, Alexander Bourgazas, just Bourga on Instagram, and congratulate him on being the Student of the Year for Melbourne Fashion Week 2020, in the worst year we've ever had and the best bit at the end of it. So thanks for being on the show, Anda.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate your time. It's honestly been perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're amazing.
Thank you for putting out this incredible work. Thank you.
No, that's all good. Keep doing what you're doing. We love to hear it.
You're listening to BRIMBANK Live on Live FM. This is the Sonia and Sasha for Real show, and we'll see you after the break.
Sonia and Sasha, for real.